it's a 659, and then they've cheekily renamed it as to make it sound a bit more spicy. But it has to be one of the most exciting bikes of the show in terms of like a new development. It's an all-new bike, a new engine for them, and it looks proper good, doesn't it, in the flesh?
Hell yeah. Yeah, it looks really, really nice. And again, because this is Supermoto style, having the graphics on there, it's appropriate, it suits it. I mean, Ducati always do styling well. It's not something they lack at all.
But this one's definitely an eye-catching paint job. It's the RVE version, so it's a lot more punchy than the standard version, which is just the classic Ducati red. I think you also get the quick shifter as standard and maybe the fancy exhaust and that sort of thing. The only thing is, it's like up at 905 mil maybe in the seat or something like that. It's really...
Yeah, you did say check if you can stand
on the Desert X Rally, didn't we? And that's too tall for probably both of us.
Yeah.
I think you're in a similar situation there, which is interesting because it sits in the Ducati lineup quite, low in terms of pricing because it's a relatively simple bike. It's not got a fancy TFT or anything like that. Single cylinder, quite stripped back. It's still got that Ducati swag, as you say, but it's in the sort of, is it like 10 or 11K for the base model? Around that kind of area. So in a way, it's like a Ducati that people can actually maybe realistically look at owning, but then it's so tall that it probably actually rules out quite a lot of people.
Yeah, I would say so. You can always sort of side saddle it and just swing one cheek off, but not everyone likes doing that. Not everyone's comfortable doing that. Obviously, we ride a lot of bikes, so between the two of us, I think we're pretty comfortable on bikes that are too tall for us. Yeah. But it's going to be a consideration for sure. For me, I'm excited to see how a Ducati single fares. It's been a while, I think, since they've had a single, right?
Yeah, it has.
And I'm excited to see the wheelie assist.
Yes, we talked about that recently, didn't we?
Yeah.
It basically helps you hold a wheelie with the front wheel sort of in the air at a set height, which is just interesting and sounds like a lot of fun. Have you ever considered buying a Supermoto before, though?
No.
Would you?
Genuinely not. I think I would. Wouldn't be my first pick, and again, it'd be one of those things where you have multiple bikes. It wouldn't be my one and only bike.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit niche. Well, not really. And I rode the Gas 700, which is the same as the KTM 690, but just with a different paint job on it. And look, it opened my eyes a bit. It seems like a little bit of a niche subculture within motorcycling. The people who ride them at the tracks and stuff and own them seem to absolutely love it as a dedicated discipline, and it wasn't something I'd really checked out. But I've got to say, I do kind of get it now from riding that bike. It's the lightness.
Yeah.
Really lightweight.
It's got to be pretty
really
nimble.
chuckable. And torque as well from that single. Very, very punchy. And because it's so light and the throttle was quite abrupt, it just feels like thrills beyond what the spec sheet. This is a recurring theme today.
Yeah.
Suggests.
Don't read the spec sheet.
Yeah.
No, I would say from people I've known who've had Hypermotards in the past, a lot of them have been like, it's one of my favourite bikes, if not my favourite bike that I've owned, which has always surprised me and intrigued me, which is why I want to try them. If I was to have a Supermoto, I think I would want to do the Husqvarna route that one of my Hawkeye Moto, who we went and shot with. He had a KTM and he had a smaller front wheel, a 17-inch front wheel, and then he had the 21-inch front wheel, and he just flipped between the two.
Oh.
So for me, to go back to the origins, I think it's the origins of Supermoto, but to have an off-roader, an enduro bike that you can then swap out the front wheel on and then make it a bit more nimble, that makes more sense to me, because then you've got two bikes in one.
But then you got to swap the tyres.
True.
Sounds like a lot of work.
All right.
On paper, I like it. In principle, fancy going for a little road spin today.
I get that. Yeah, you're like, oh, sorry lads, I can't join you. I've got the knobblies on it today.
On the flip side, though, it is an affordable way to get two bikes for the price of one. Just buy a second set of wheels. I assume he's got a second rear wheel as well, so that he's not changing the tyre.
Yeah, he's got spare tyres, basically, which is the best way to do it. I mean, you can't necessarily do that with your ZX-10R or, I guess your Tiger, stick some 17s on it.
No, you can't do that. Yeah, fair point. But anyway, definitely looking forward to checking this one out. It's high up the list, on the list of bikes to review in 2024. Just might need you to come over and give me
happily
a leg up to get on it.
Right, okay, yeah.